Have you ever loved something so much that it began to take precedent in your life? So much that you ignore nearly everything and everyone, including your significant other? I have. Hi, I'm Eddie and I'm a functioning rider addict. It started last year when my buddy, The Log, recommended me the perfect season that fits snugly with all my sensibilities. Yes, I lost my girlfriend of over 2 years because I was binging Kamen Rider. Yes, I'm going to go over the first season I watched and happened to love. And yes, I'm incredibly depressed. Straight from the land of sushi, polite stoicism, and declining birth rates, Kamen Rider is a superhero franchise from Japan about masked heroes who drive motorcycles. Sometimes. Think Power Rangers, but it's not a bastardized American version. It's the source material, which is more character-focused than your average superhero show aimed at youths. Something that struck me immediately was that the shows, at least the seasons I've seen, are marketed towards children, but very often contain adult tones and subtext. They tackle serious topics and genuinely can get very emotional. I couldn't ask for anything more in a show, and I really mean anything. You name it and there's a season that'll deliver in one shape or form. 2026 been a horrid year so far, so I wanted to make this video to gush about something I like. Can't be negative all the time. Going forward, I'm going to be dropping mad spoilers, so this is your warning. Click off if you don't want Kamen Rider Agito spoiled. Welcome, I hope you find something to enjoy about my journey, and this is how I became a Kamen Rider fan at 25. And I hate yo bitch, I be yelling. What's the difference between these two photos? TikTok. You better come up with an answer. That's right, one of these heroes is socially acceptable to enjoy as an adult, and newsflash, it's the traumatized man wearing a bat costume and trunks. There's a stigma around being into the genre of tokusatsu, and I get it. Before joining the community, I'm barely part of it. I thought Toku was exclusively for children. Tell me all you like about how Power Rangers Time Force is an amazing show for adults too, but it's exclusively for kids in my head. For those unaware, tokusatsu, or toku for short, is a genre of media in which they use a lot of special effects, with heroes, and often the hero characters wear colorful spandex with some plastic shells and pads on top. To an adult who didn't grow up with any kind of exposure to these shows, it might look a bit silly or ridiculous. However, the designs are so bare bones that for me, it comes all the way around, from being cheesy to being iconic and a visual feast. I mean, when's the last time a suit from the MCU or DCU has looked so fucking clean without a bundle of spaghetti lines all over the place? I really want to mention Super Sentai, or Power Rangers as it's known in English. It's not the same as Kamen Rider. I grew up with Power Rangers, Dino Thunder, Time Force, SPD, and more. I even had Sentai exposure. I had a pirated Ninja Storm or Hurricaneger DVD dubbed in Thai from a flea market, and wouldn't you know it, on the disc there was a trailer for Kamen Rider Ryou. I watched that trailer over and over again. I thought they were just another team of Power Rangers who rode dragons. That was just a single trailer from when I was a kid, but the image of Rider was so distinct that the memory has lasted over 20 years. Rider is a completely different beast than Power Rangers, and me thinking it was just another team of Rangers held me back from witnessing some of the best superhero media I've had the pleasure to consume. If you're watching this video cold and you haven't tried out Kamen Rider, or watched Power Rangers as a kid but think you've outgrown the genre, I implore you to keep an open mind going forward. From what I've seen, Rider is where more character-focused writing happens, so if you want adult, Kamen Rider is an entirely different beast than Power Rangers. If you think this is wrong, shoot me a comment. I'm not always right. Each season follows a different set of characters and premises. I thought beforehand that the title of Rider was like a mantle, but no, it's an anthology. Each season revolves around a unique cast of characters and setting. It's all in Japan, I mean though. Being disconnected allows a sense of finality with each season, and that's something I wholeheartedly believe most modern superhero media severely lacks. So leave your prejudices at the door and be ready to live, laugh, and love. It's Agito. Yeah, sorry bro. Like many great TV shows, Kamen Rider Agito is centered around mysteries, and throughout this season we're being drip-fed information. Never too much, so we're always starving for more. Within the first episode, several mysteries are already let loose. What's the deal with these monsters murdering random people? Who the hell is this guy who washed up on the beach with amnesia? What the hell is even an Agito? What's going on? The answer to all these questions for me when I asked multiple people was, keep watching. There's no other answer that would have sufficed. The series spans 51 episodes at 24-ish minutes each. Sounds like a lot, but the show devotes enough time to establish conflict, characters, and a status quo. So much so that there's barely any bloating. There's very little filler, and when there is, it's still doing the job of getting us invested in these characters. The show also follows the soap opera structure, ending on cliffhangers or points where a hard decision or reveal is made, which makes not binging this series so difficult. There were countless nights where I thought, oh man, just one more, after I'd already stayed awake far too late watching. One turns into two because 24 minutes, that's nothing. An episode of a show is around 40 to 50 minutes, so I'll watch two. It's only fair. My boy math, and I was incredibly wrong. What separates Agito from other mystery box media is that it's extremely dedicated to pacing. As previously stated, there's a status quo that's set up early on, and every now and then something huge will happen, a new revelation occurs, and the characters break from their routines and face the new situation. A lot of other shows rush through the plot points, or force characters to make decisions they just wouldn't because of who they are at the time. Agito doesn't have this problem, as it lets everything and everyone breathe throughout the 51 episode count. The restraint shown is incredibly important, as it gives the viewer time to form their opinions on each character, and we're given enough time to change our opinions based on what's going on. Big spoiler alert. Big spoiler alert. The central conflict which kicks off the story is the Lord of Light versus the Lord of Darkness. I like to just think of it as God versus the devil because it's funnier to me. The devil was able to kill God, but not before God planted his seed into all humans. The seed, which will eventually grow and sprout, turning humans into Agito, the next step of human evolution, meant to combat the dark forces. With the battle on such a grand scale as literally the embodiment of light versus dark, the series often spends long amounts of time looking into the small mundane lives of our leads. I could give or take the gods fighting, but the time spent watching the people I've grown to like get into silly shenanigans is irreplaceable. That's where Agito truly shines. It's not the bombastic fights with flips, flames, and shouting at the top of your lungs. It's the quiet, hokey moments when our leads get to stop fighting, sit down, and shoot the shit. Personally, I wouldn't want to sit down with boring people, but luckily nearly every character in Agito is fleshed out, given time to shine, and just entertaining to watch. Looking back at the roster, it's all absolute fucking bangers. We have our titular character, Shouichi Tsugami, a young man who carries the power to transform into Kamen Rider Agito. After washing up on a beach beside debris from a sunken ferry, Shouichi is left with amnesia. Left all alone, surrounded by strangers, Shouichi's picking up the pieces and trying to uncover who he really is. He doesn't stay alone for long as he's taken in by a kind household, a young teenage girl named Mana, her little piece of shit brother, I forgot his name, and their uncle, because daddy's dead. Then there's the G3 police unit, the most chill cops I've ever seen, led by the hottest woman alive, Sumiko Ozawa. Also on the team is my favorite character who operates the most badass looking rider suit, Makoto Hikawa. Oh yeah, there's another guy too, or whatever. Not you two. And then there's Kamen Rider Gills, Ryou Ashihara, a man who's never had a good day in his whole life. The core trinity embody three completely different peaks of the human condition.
Hey Lois, if I was gonna kill myself, do I slit my wrists this way or this way?
And the thing is, Agito doesn't start out with its most complicated character. It actually starts out with its purest and most simple.
I just put my dick inside this broad.
Now she Agito.
I just put my dick inside your mom.
Shouichi Tsugami is a blank canvas upon meeting him. The mystery surrounding him is dense since he doesn't give up much information to others, and the audience doesn't get any insights. On the surface, he's personable, kind, and has the skill set to be the world's greatest housewife. He cooks, he cleans, gardens, and more. Everything and anything that can be done by him is done without a single complaint. He's a ray of sunshine who's happy making life easier for the people around him. My favorite instance of this is from episode 8, in which the younger brother character of the family pushes him, and the kid might be a Steven Seagal level Aikido master because Shouichi goes fucking flying into Mana's bed, smashing it. It's just so abrupt and unexpected. The B-plot for the rest of the episode is just him building her a new bed frame from scratch. It's not the usual monster killing or people saving activity. It's small in comparison to some of his other feats, but he smashed the bed so he's gonna fix it. He's responsible and he's optimism in the flesh. For a long time throughout the show, he's portrayed as a happy-go-lucky schmuck who takes care of a family, but when his spider sense goes off, he flicks right on like a light bulb and zooms out to face danger head on. We don't know what he thinks of or is even aware of what happens when it comes to fighting monsters. For a lot of the show, I thought that perhaps he was overcome or possessed by the spirit of Agito, or something. But as the series progresses, we learn more about him. He's conscious when he faces down the unknowns, which shows that for the whole time, he's been holding himself in. Later on, we see him actively lie to the police about his identity, hiding the fact that he's the supernatural vigilante, Agito. We can only assume from his actions that when he's silent, it's because he's chosen to be. When he's really opening up is when we learn that the wall of smiling stoicism and simplicity is an act. covering up his desire to just exist. Shouichi-chan is the kind of person who shields his inner emotions with a large smile. Under the surface, he carries a lot of internal conflict over possessing the power of Agito, as originally before his amnesia, he was on the search for his missing sister, as you do if you're the greatest guy ever. Unknown to him, she had taken her own life. She was the first human to evolve into an Agito, and Shouichi was later the second. After learning of her fate and how the power that he controls is the same one that pushed his own sister to commit suicide, he still chooses to wield it, to fight for a brighter future, and to protect humanity. It's not an easy decision to make, as along with his sister, his first transformation into Agito was less than stellar, to say the least. He was a passenger on a ferry that God ran away to. The devil sent one of his monsters to finish the job, but Shouichi was blessed first, turning into Agito, fighting, then getting tossed to sea. If he weren't already evolved, he would have died. This encounter has a long-lasting effect on Shouichi, as when he crosses paths with that monster later down the line, even after promptly defeating other monsters, he freezes and runs away. It's not often in the show that we see him run from anything. He even stands up to God in the end, but this one monster left such a lasting effect on him. The only way he was able to move past the trauma was to team up with the other riders, get a pep talk, and then kill it. A simplistic way to look at trauma, but it's quite literal in this case. Shouichi's optimism and sense of wanting to help people isn't blind. None of his choices are mistakes, but when you don't know someone well and they seem to want to do everything, it could be mistaken for blindly assisting more than one is obliged to. If he was the only character this amplified in the show, it would feel off. Luckily, he's not alone.
I just pulled up on Ozawa.
She gon' eat it up.
I just pulled up on Hikawa.
If Shouichi is just a person trying to protect others from pain, Ryou Ashihara is what happens when pain takes over a person's life. Embodying every single negative emotion, Ryou as Kamen Rider Gills is another titular masked rider. While Shouichi and Hikawa show us the whimsical nature of everyday life, Gills shows us pure, unrelenting suffering. His father died, he drowns nearly every time he ends up in water, despite him having gills. And almost everyone he holds dear is murdered. Oh, and his body is physically mutating into a bug monster. The constant hardship leads him into becoming a powder keg full of emotions, who's always crashing out. He's a manifestation of negative human emotions, and for a majority of the show, he's completely alone. If Shouichi exists to show us the positive change we can experience with the help and support from the people around us, then Ryou's purpose is to show the cruelty of the world if we're left without that help and support. He's left alone to suffer, and his only method of coping is to turn into an angry person, one who pushes people away, not wanting to form any sort of connections out of fear that they might see the vulnerable side of him, a side which he has locked away due to his past experiences. His awakening as a rider was also thrust upon him. He didn't want or ask to become an Agito. It's revealed with his early actions. He doesn't fight to protect people like Shouichi. He only fights for himself. His rage gives him an escape, a way to deal with his issues, internal and external. He's lashing out. Even after Gills had grown a significant bit, he gets a girlfriend and is ready to start growing and leave his pain. She's not a character with powers. She's not a rider. She's worse. She's normal, and that gets her murdered. One of the few characters who shows Ryou compassion, he's treated as a regular person by her, and through her, a possible future of normality could have been had. Instead, his escape to a normal life is taken right before his eyes, completely shutting down that option. His existence is pain, pain, and pain. A glimpse of hope, then some more pain. The puppy that he's gifted at the very end is certain to meet a dark end eventually. It symbolizes a brighter future and gives something to Ryou to be vulnerable and emotional with. Yet he hasn't gone the mile and come to peace with or grown to deal with his trauma. The effects left by all of this hurt is that Ryou doesn't grow or change much. Instead, he merely contains it, only letting it out when needed. He goes from lashing out in every direction to focusing his anger. However, the underlying anger causing him to see red is still present. In a way, you could argue the fact that he doesn't change at all if he's still just a barrel of rage. Ryou's defining trait is his resilience, being able to endure so much physical and emotional pain, even brave death itself. He keeps on kicking by punching and tearing through anything in his way. A real person could not do this, but within the story, he can, as it shows the human spirit's drive to keep fighting until the very end. Come hell or high water, Gills is going to face down the coming threat with a scream and a flurry of kicks. But what happens when someone who isn't chosen by the hands of fate still chooses to stand up to the occasion, regardless of the danger or consequences?
In this trap house, we only watching Heisei. Couldn't give a fuck about them boys.
I saved the best for last. My clumsy king. Makoto Hikawa is the last third of our core rider trio. He's part of the police G3 unit that's specialty is a high-tech battle suit which Hikawa pilots. Not only is their little group my favorite to watch, but Hikawa is my favorite character. In intimate settings, he has the quirk of being unable to complete delicate tasks, like forming a rice ball or breaking open a walnut. His frustration is exasperated by the fact that Shouichi is able to do these things effortlessly. They're both so cute together. Ooh, I love it. On a more serious note, what sets them apart from Shouichi and Ryou is that while they were given the Seed of Light, granting them evolution into Agito, Hikawa was not chosen. He's just a guy who goes out of his way and chooses to act, even without destiny in his corner. There's a significant period of time where he desperately wants to be an Agito, even going so far as asking Shouichi what kind of person Kamen Rider Agito is, before he knew Shouichi was him. He was obsessed, fueled by inadequacy, because while Ryou and Shouichi have powers that come directly from within, Hikawa relies on human technology to mimic their effectiveness. Every cell in his body wanted that power, wanted to be chosen, but it wasn't possible as he didn't have the seed. His desire isn't a selfish one for personal gain, he just wants the ability to defeat unknowns better, in turn protecting more innocent people. He's selfless like Shouichi, despite not being on the same level physically. That's the core of Hikawa. That's what made me so infatuated with him. In a world of superpowered bug people, he's just the guy who strives to do the right thing, regardless of the dangers it presents. He pushes himself just to be in that awesome looking suit with that minigun just to get his shit kicked in. He embodies the human spirit to never give up, to work hard to achieve your goals. And in the end, he stands alongside Ryou and Shouichi as equals. His obsession with becoming an Agito is resolved with the realization that he wields a power comparable to Agito, the G3X suit, motorcycle, and huge gun. He overlooked his access to the technology at his disposal, tunnel visioning on learning the secrets of being an Agito, not realizing that he already had so much more power than the average person. As is, he's already capable of completing feats of the same level. This allows him to be at peace, knowing that he can keep up. Not having the innate power doesn't even linger with him. Moving on is straightforward and easy for Hikawa. He's always on the move, from one situation to the next, battle to battle. In the world, and for the audience, he redefines what strength is, and gives way to the fact that anyone can wield it. The cost of standing alongside Agito is that Hikawa experiences the full damage that Ryou and Shouichi can tank easily. Hikawa breaks, he bleeds, and suffers in ways that the other two just don't. There's a few episodes where he has trouble with his vision, and it even gives out during a fight. There's no supernatural force or power protecting him. He's eating blows to the head for breakfast and having a concussion for lunch. His dinner is just severe brain damage. All of this lasts the entire series, yet he still shows up and gives his all. And while Shouichi is chosen and Ryou's cursed, Hikawa actively sought out their power, and upon learning that he isn't capable of wielding it, he actively chooses himself to still stand tall, defy his lack of destiny, and take hits again and again. Hikawa doesn't need to stand alone though. Shouichi and Gills both fill their respective roles. All three of them stand tall together and in the end are able to defeat the Lord of Darkness, making their journey of anger, sadness, dedication, and resilience worth it. Every second spent with them had me on the edge of my seat, and now that I've finished the series and the movie, I feel a massive gaping hole in my life. Other seasons have their merits, but this cast of characters holds a special place in my heart. Knowing they had a happy ending gives me some closure, but I still come back to them from time to time. Each symbolizes a fundamental aspect of what being human is. Shouichi is hope in spite of trauma, Ryou is survival through fire, Hikawa is fighting and forging your own destiny. Together, they aren't just masked dudes riding motorcycles, fighting monsters, they're a portrait of what people endure, what we break under, and what we can still become.
When I hit your bitch, I be yelling, hey shit. Got your hands up on his belt, it's time to lock in.
So recently in my life, I've been having cathartic experiences way more often than when I was younger. Perhaps it's my choice of what media I consume, but I like to think that I'm seeing myself more in the stories that I read or watch, regardless of what I pick. I watched Agito last year, but it took until this month for me to look back on it during a trying time. I'm at a weird point in my life, and thinking back to watching this cast of characters brought me joy and a sense of comfortability that balanced out the negative feelings plaguing me at the time. Perhaps a part of me was able to escape my feelings for a while instead of dealing with the issues in my life. I dove back into the world of Agito to ignore what was really happening, and I kinda walked away with 2 lessons learned. God is a deadbeat dad who thrusted the seed of Agito upon humanity, then fucking died. This action guaranteed that at some point humanity would need to put him up with Satan. No guidance was given, and we were expected to pick up the pieces. This is where I realized that power doesn't solve problems. If anything, it accelerates them. When Agito is awakened within people, they commit suicide, they hurt themselves, and some even wind up killing people. It's never portrayed as an unavoidable fate, it's just what happens to people who aren't ready or prepared for it. Gaining strength doesn't make you wiser, it just removes excuses. I could have helped. It was unavoidable. I didn't know what to do. Once you have power, those excuses stop working. Avoidance doesn't heal you. Strength doesn't make you more tranquil. Shouichi doesn't smile because he's cured. He made the choice to keep going. Ryou doesn't suffer because he's weak. He suffers because pain doesn't magically teach you anything. Hikawa proves that not being chosen doesn't disqualify you from mattering. I regret a plethora of actions and thoughts from my past, but Agito assured me that no matter what, regardless of any shortcomings or feelings of inadequacy, I still matter. If not to others, then to myself. Following a pathway that leans on aspects of 3 leads is probably healthier than how I was living before. Surrounding myself with loved ones as Shouichi did, enduring without rotting away like Ryou, and showing up and giving my all, regardless if fate gave me a sign or not. Again and again, the show kept telling us that survival isn't a glamorous event. Surviving is routine. Showing up, it's leaning on people when you need, it's letting out tears when you can't hold them in anymore. The show never promises that things are going to get better or healing is guaranteed, because it's not. Those are things that take time and are worked towards. The show repeatedly tells us through the characters' actions and decisions the same thing. Damn, you're still alive? Well, shit. What are you gonna do next? And right now in my life, that's exactly the message I needed.
Me and Mana bought this brick, we bout to bust it. Break it down, cut it up, and then we...
On a lighter note, recently I went into a collector's shop with figures, movie memorabilia, and the such, and the only Kamen Rider products I saw were from Kuga, Ryuki, and Zets. So 2 seasons from over 2 decades ago, and the current season airing at the time of writing this video. Every shop I checked after was more of the same. Even online, I don't see many people talking about Agito. I know it was my first season, but compared to the current era of Rider, it's leagues above. I was sorely disappointed. And I know what you're thinking if you're a fan. Get a fucking load of this guy, he hasn't seen da-da-da-da or da-da-da-da-da-da, and he's talking shit. Yeah, because I feel that Agito matters. Even more so in the current era we live in. The superhero landscape is ruled over by Marvel and DC, and with the former, the cinema is their kingdom to be ruled with an iron fist, holding a piece of shit. A majority of modern superhero movies are obsessed with escalation. Out goes the emotional character development and interesting dynamics, in comes more cameos.
Yes, please, can you find more cameos? Yes, bring back characters who had heartfelt send-offs. Yes.
Many franchises are obsessed with lasting forever. This has been an issue with comics since before I was born. But it feels right now that the cinematic universe model is perpetuating the problem. This is where Agito shines. By the end of those 51 episodes in one movie, I was sad, but I had gotten my fair share of these characters. It would be nice to get more of them, but I knew within my heart of hearts that their story was over and ended on a final bittersweet moment. Continuing with them would just mean that whatever tale they'd star in after would be nothing more than a soulless cash grab. It's refreshing to see characters complete their journey in a world where stories don't finish until they've been run into the ground and stop making money. I'm 25 as of recording this, and I feel every single one of those years from when I wake up until I hit the sack. Agito's core message of "keep on truckin', brother" has meant a lot to me during this difficult time, and knowing that Shouichi, Ryou, and Hikawa reached a peaceful conclusion, not a perfect one, but peaceful, gives me hope. Hope that when my story finally nears completion, I hope I won't hesitate. I'll press forward, not avoiding anything, and not regretting chances I never took. That's why Kamen Rider Agito matters, and that's why and how I became a Kamen Rider fan at 25. Also, the gay shipping is so plentiful and I can't get enough of it. P.S. This video is 25 years of Agito, and a new fucking Kamen Rider Agito movie coming out this year. The trailer just came out after I fucking recorded this. That's amazing. I'm really excited. Let's fucking hit the cinema.
Take a look at my wrist. That's a $250,000. In his belt, I'm holding Pierre White. No pastel. Roll up on me. It's a death wish. You get